Hello, today I'm going to talk you through yet another rotation exercise. So this one is called spine twist and it's a classical exercise, classical Pilates exercise. However, twisting the spine in a vertical position, which is essentially what's involved with spine twist, is something that we do all the time as bipeds, and it's therefore something that it's a very functional movement. It may well be classical Pilates, but it's also a movement that we meet almost every single day of our lives, and for many of us multiple times during the day. So it's a really important movement to have an awareness of doing well so that we can maintain healthy spines and allow ourselves to move as freely as possible. So with spine twist, with the classical version, the legs are out in front of the body. Now this is a seated position, which a lot of people find really tricky. So if you are able to stretch the legs out in front of you, then great. But for many of us, we're going to need a couple of blocks, maybe even 3 or 4 blocks. And for some people, the knees will need to bend in order to get the spine upright in its neutral position. So as you turn to the side, whether you're on no blocks, 1 block, 2 blocks, 5 blocks, whatever you need, when I turn to the side to show you, you want to make sure that your spine is in its natural curves. So you've got your lower back arching, your upper back slightly rounded, your neck in its neutral curve as well, and your head just floating up on top. What a lot of people tend to do when faced with this position of the legs being out in front of them, in their effort to sit tall, they tend to push the ribs forwards. So you want to be aware that you're not straining your back. Your back muscles are active, but you don't want the ribs flaring forwards. You want the ribs just stacked absolutely effortlessly over the pelvis. So there is activity in your back, and there is also activity through your centre, your deep abdominals and your pelvic floor muscles. All of those muscles are lifting evenly so that you can keep yourself on axis. Head over ribs over pelvis. That's the first thing that's important. So as I turn back around to face you, you can appreciate that sense of length through your spine. So go ahead and use blocks or bend the knees if you need to achieve that. And then your arms can just reach out to the sides, feeling a sense of width through the fingertips, width across the collarbones, width across the shoulder blades at the back. And then we're just gently rotating the spine. And as we do that, we want to maintain this central axis. So it's really easy to allow the ribs to shift to one side as we twist, for example, and that would allow the hip to become lighter on one side. So what we're aiming for is this grounded sensation through both hips. They're both sinking into the floor evenly and remaining very, very heavy and rooted to the spot. And as we rotate the spine from side to side, we want to feel that the spine remains on axis, absolutely in the centre, not shifting from side to side or bending from side to side as we rotate. So the arms can do a number of different things. You know, you might play around with rotating them, you might allow them to fold in towards you, perhaps using a Cossack position. There's lots and lots of different variations that you can try with different arm positions. Hands behind the head is quite a nice one, just to give yourself a little bit of lift through the skull to help you to lengthen your spine more. Whatever you choose to do with the arms though, the idea is that your arms aren't moving independently of the spine sort of giving you the impression of moving further than you are. So if that's something you're not quite sure about, you can hold on to something. Maybe it's a magic circle, or maybe it's just a block. And as you rotate, you want to keep that block directly in front of the breastbone so that you're not taking the block or the circle any further than your chest. So the aim is to maintain that widening of the shoulder girdle, and as you rotate from side to side, the shoulder girdle stays just snug around the rib cage. The other thing that you can do with this spine twist is to choose a more comfortable sitting position. For those of you that aren't happy with the legs out in front of you, you might choose to cross the legs in this position. Again, making sure the ribs don't pop forwards, that you're lengthening the spine directly upwards from the pelvis. Or you might choose to go for a low kneeling position where your bottom is sat down onto your heels, again stacking the spine vertically over the pelvis. Or you might even choose to come up into a high kneeling position. So if that's more comfortable for your knees, feel free to lift up into a high kneeling position. You could even come all the way up to standing and do your spine twist with whatever arm position you choose in a standing position. Generally speaking though, I think it's better to do it sitting because that enables your pelvis to be grounded and keeps it more stable so that you can then isolate this lovely rotational movement through the spine without the pelvis coming with you. So whatever position you choose, just make sure that it's comfortable for your legs. You're not straining too hard through your thighs or through your back, but you want to feel that lovely light sense of lift through your centre, as if your spine is just floating effortlessly upwards out of the pelvis as you rotate from side to side. So I haven't talked about breathing at all, but of course you can breathe normally, breathing either in or out for the rotation as you prefer. There's no fixed rules about that. And that is your spine twist, both a classical exercise and a highly functional rotational movement of the spine that we really need to do every day. Enjoy.